guys are here. So anybody from Meal Tango can just couple minutes give your perspective on how this particular model has helped to kind of close the loop. More than the model, I'm interested, or we are interested in Vaibhav as a person, as a leader, as an evangelist.
He's not taking any oath or something. Right?
Hello. Well, I didn't expect that question. We really just came here as spectators. Actually, our interaction with Vaibhav began about, I think, maybe 6 months ago. And we have had people advise us in the past. I think what's been really remarkable about having Vaibhav as part of our team is the very grounded advice that we've been getting with Vaibhav. And I think the years of sales experience, for example, that he talked about, it really shows through in the advice that he gives us. So for example, like he rightly said, as an entrepreneur, one of the things we really need to do is to be able to sell. And there's a lot of people who may like your idea, they might want to put money into your idea. But if they can teach you how to sell, then I think that's really remarkable advice to get. That's a great person to have on board with you.
Yeah, I can see that he has taught you well because I continue to get your emails.
I believe you must have signed up for it, or are we like?
Yeah, at the farmers market at Weston actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I should clarify, you're not spamming. I did sign up for it. So, anyway, thank you very much for that insight. Any questions? He has taken the oath already, so no, you haven't. Still, anybody?
Yeah, I have a question. Hi, Vaibhav, which are the future technologies? Are you kind of excited about any future technologies, or are you not swayed by technologies?
No, I think.
Just to repeat the question, everybody heard that?
I think no.
The question is, what does he think about some of the future technologies? Which future technologies does he feel excited about, etc.?
I think I feel excited about technology in general, right? Because I think we are seeing innovations across the spectrum, whether it's Tesla or SpaceX or what Genentech has been doing recently to the software world, right? And I think how software is changing lives of people with the Ubers of the world and things like that. So I think I'm a big believer. There are a lot of people in the real estate space who always ask me, hey, is the IT here to stay? And I'm like, there is nothing other than IT. Mark Andreessen wrote that famous blog post a couple years ago called "Software is eating the world," and software is eating the world, right? Software is going to be the fabric of the world. Everything that we do. So, I think the challenge that all of us have is how do we stay relevant in this situation, professionally as well as personally, right? So, I think I'm just excited about what technology can do to our lives and is already doing to our lives.
Anybody else? Yeah, there.
Do you get time to mentor companies outside your better fold, and what type of companies would you like to mentor?
No, I definitely.
Just the question is, does he mentor companies outside the better umbrella, and what kind of companies does he like to mentor?
Right. So I think I definitely get the time. In fact, we spent the first year and a half just settling down. So I'm just starting to know more people, especially in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. I want to do it. I do it, and I hopefully will do a lot more of it. And I think from the type of companies, I think it could be pretty much any company because there is a very fundamental set of beliefs that every business person forms. So I have a few that I think can be applied to whether you're a restaurant or a software company. So would love to.
Vaibhav, you already mentioned about your experience not being a salesperson and then getting into a salesperson. But can you just tell somebody what would be that one advice for somebody who's not a sales guy but he has to do a sales guy for his living. I mean, he has to be a sales guy.
Right, right. So, I think if you're an entrepreneur, and if you're running a business, I think you have to be able to sell. I think the founder has to be the best sales guy for any company. And we've seen that with Bill Gates, we've seen that with Steve Jobs, we've seen that with Larry Ellison. These guys can sell anything. Lately, Mark Benioff, right? So, and I completely understand that it does not come naturally to a lot of us, right? It did not come naturally to me. But I think when you realize that this goes back to the fact of saying that what is it that I need to do and how much do I realize and how much do I accept that I have to do, then you just have to do it, right? I mean, there is really no way around it. Put yourself in that situation. See, what happens is a lot of people don't make that transition from knowing to doing it because they don't put themselves in that situation. Right? If you put yourself in that situation, because it's that the fear is very difficult to get over. I have been there. I completely understand. It's real. Nothing to be ashamed of. You just have to do it.
He used the word conviction some time ago, and then I think it's an important point. You put yourself in that situation, and you will actually be surprised, quite possibly, that your conviction and your passion comes out much more than and much better than many quote-unquote very experienced sales guys, and the customers will actually see that. So it's a very good point that you force yourself into that situation. Don't think about just hiring whiz-bang sales guys to do that job for you. Sorry, one more question.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Yes.
So many of us, small startups like us, we want to, have some kind of investment into it because we have some dreams to follow. But we start with we start with just the passion or the technical expertise we think we have. I have seen a lot of examples of, we are one of those examples as well, and of my friends who have fear of getting an investor on board because they are not really sure if they'll be comfortable with a new guy entering over there. And because what we do is we find a co-founder with whom we are comfortable with, who has the same passion as us, but we are not sure really the guy who is interested in investing. We won't feel pressurized by his investment and to get the results out of the company, because when it's our passion, we don't feel pressurized. We just work for our passion and our love. So how to get over that fear and how to find a good investment opportunity or a comfortable new partner, we can say. So that would be my question.
Absolutely, and I think that's a fabulous question. And I think this fear of an unknown and fear of an investor, I think is very real. And I think it's for us.
He's pointing at me when he says I don't know.
So there is nothing wrong with having that fear because it's real. Wherever you are in the world, there are equal number of great stories and horror stories, right? But it's also sort of a mindset change for us Indians, right? Where we are a lot more conservative about things in our minds, in our families, to kind of see the other perspective, which is don't think of that person as a pure investor, but it's somebody who can kind of bring value to your business by saying that, well, I have been in a related space, or here's how you can make the product more scalable, or here's how we can scale and grow our market much better, and things like that, right? So there is a lot of, you have to convince yourself that once I get these kinds of people, we as a company will grow. You are absolutely right that any investor will also want to put in their thought process in that, which you may or may not agree, and that's a tough balance to strike. And I think my advice to most people is that get somebody on as an advisor early on, and not as a pure paper advisor. Give them shares, right? Say here's a 10,000 shares for a 1-year advisory agreement, because You have to make it a